Today, will a more sorted field make for a calmer race? We'll find out soon as we get ready for the Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West Series. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Joey Atterbury. Joey, for one last time this weekend, tell us about COTA.
Let's take a look at that track map. 20 turns and 3.41 miles is what makes up this amazing facility just outside of downtown Austin, Texas. And the climb up to turn number 1, Big Red is what it's known as, and has a huge wide entry, but be very careful because it definitely narrows down with a funnel effect from apex to exit. Sector number 1 is mainly made up of the S's all the way through turn 6 towards turn number 11. It's crucial you put the power down because you see that long back straightaway there. Turn number 15 is in the tower section where the cars are really coming to a crawl after 160 miles an hour on the back straightaway, and then turn 19 and 20 round out the lap here at COTA.
Now, we have a small field, but it's going to be a little smaller, which we'll talk about in a second. Alex Pratt starts on the pole with Mark Krigler next to him in the GT3 Cup cars. Manny Gil Del Real will begin from third. After that, the pole for our Cayman sees Anna Checkered in the top spot, starting from fourth overall. Second will be Justin Lewis. Greg Checkered will be after that, starting in third. And unfortunately, Greg Herback got a flat tire, we're finding out, on the outlap. Unfortunate and atrocious luck for him today after he didn't even get to complete our Cayman North America race. So we will see only 6 cars take the start, Joey.
Yeah, unfortunate to see the 49, like you said, have that little bit of an incident there on the outlap, but we've got the pair of Cup cars, we've got the trio of Cayman GT4s. They've already completed 1 and call it 3/4 of our pace laps out here, but because the 49 car is on the back straightaway still stranded, I have a feeling we are going to be staying under the yellow flag. Now, we should be getting the race started right here, so we'll see if the timer actually continues or starts to wind, and I do see it starting to wind. So the race has officially started. We just haven't received a green flag yet.
Yeah, so first lap effectively will begin under yellow as we wait for Greg's car to be retrieved, and then hopefully we'll get going in a short amount of time. But as we mentioned before, if you missed yesterday's race, since we only have Anna Checkered in the Pro-Ams there in the Caymans, and then Manny Gil Del Real in the Masters in the Cup cars, we effectively have 2 classes, even though typically there are 4 competing. Points will still be headed out as normal, but we'll try to follow along for the overall, since that is really what's going to matter the most to our drivers. This is the last race of the weekend for the Porsche Sprint Challenge Series, which has run the North America Caymans and the GT3 Cup cars. And then now USA West rounding it out in the hottest conditions we have seen all weekend.
You just brought up the point that I was going to make. You know, we've really had these overcast skies, especially in the morning times here at COTA. Yesterday stayed pretty cool, and it started to warm up late afternoon, but it by no means got blistering hot. Now today, a little bit of a different story. I mean, we rolled into the racetrack at, about 7 this morning, and I mean, we couldn't even see the tower because there was so much fog and moisture in the air, and now look at it, a beautiful blue sky, and I bet you temperatures are well into the 80s, and with all that moisture I talked about from earlier.
It's nearly 90 degrees out there.
Okay, there you go.
So yeah, you're right, it is in the 80s, 88 Fahrenheit. And I think the more important factor in all this, not just that air temperature, which I'm sure is pretty miserable inside the car, but we started about, I think it was 75 degrees Fahrenheit when I saw first this morning for the track surface, 122 Fahrenheit right now.
And I mean, it's been steadily climbing. We've been covering races all day here at COTA, and I think it was just even in our previous race that it was still below 100 degrees when we started, and then when we ended, it was about 110, 115. I think I heard it call out about 111 degrees at one point, and yeah, it has continued to climb. 122 degrees on that pavement. Now, these Yokohama tires are absolutely amazing, and they love the heat, but it is still up to the drivers to extract the most performance they can for as long as they can.
The funny thing about this is when Sprint Challenge showed up here at COTA in 24 and 25, it was later in May, and it was, as you'd expect, pretty boiling hot here in Texas. So they moved it up quite a few weeks to try and avoid that. And for the most part, they were successful this weekend, but the Texas weather has decided, no, you cannot escape having to deal with my wrath. And so at least for the last 2 races this weekend, it is turned into a sauna inside the cockpit of the cars. We watch from on board. Anna Checkered here, who's going to take us to the lead.
And I see our 2 Cup cars paired up 2 by 2. Now, it is completely up to race control and what they have said and told the drivers, but as far as I'm concerned, this is a restart versus an initial start, so it looks like they are going to keep them in columns.
Exactly. So that's a good catch. I hadn't considered that yes, it's the initial start, but they've probably been communicated with as we come off the final corner and down towards turn 1. They'll get the call closer to the start line, and there it is. Green flag is out, and it looks like somebody was caught napping there of the front Cup cars. Is up to the first corner. Mark Krigler is going to be well ahead, and I think Alex Pratt was also a car we saw pulling into pit lane for some reason.
You know, I saw him stopped earlier, so I don't think that he was actually out on the racetrack. It was only Mark Krigler and Manny Gilles de Real, the 2 Cup cars that we saw out there on the pace laps, and we've got the 3 Cayman cars. So, yeah, it will just be Mark Krigler and Manny here duking it out in the GT3 Cups, and then, of course, over in the Caymans, Justin Lewis, Anna Checkered, and Greg Checkered.
Mark's going to, I think by default, get his first ever win in class, but this could be a win overall for the Cup cars for the 204 if he can keep Manny behind him. But up at the front of our Caymans, Justin Lewis, who had a fantastic race in the North America Series, is following it up, leading Anna Checkered away.
I'm actually really impressed with the speed out of... Is that Justin Lewis? I just automatically defaulted to Anna Checkered out there. But, yeah, no, Justin is doing a terrific job leading that Cayman class right now and actually closing it in on the back of one of the Cup cars.
Yeah, as I was talking about, that 75 has been having a very good day today, looking to take an overall win in the Caymans today. But it's a long race left to go. We had some of the time sucked up by that full course yellow to begin things here in USA West. Now he has to survive for 30 more minutes. Anna Checkered, no doubt, will be hungry to try and retake that position.
It's a great opportunity for Justin to see what it's like out in the lead, and especially when you have some very, very fast cars directly behind. It's a totally different dynamic when you're in the cockpit to hold off that sort of pressure, and you saw it was already, I believe, Anna Checkered a little bit more narrow in turn 15, and she's starting to close it up on that back bumper of the 75.
And Anna is going to be really fired up, I think, because she was so close to getting herself a win again for the 2nd race in a row earlier this morning with the North America Series. And unfortunately, a late error in her race meant she cost herself a chance to even at a podium as there was a slide from the 75. She might get her chance very quickly here as she runs up behind the slipstream of Justin Lewis. He guards the middle of the track, but she almost finds an opening and then changes her mind going out to the racing line up to turn 1.
He definitely took it all the way, not all the way to the wall, but further than halfway through. And then once Anna saw that, she was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go back to the racing line. No need to pinch turn number 1 that hard just to make this pass right now. She's still applying the pressure to the back of Justin Lewis, and Justin may be a little bit hesitant entering the S's, and there you see Anna using the full width of the racetrack, a little bit wider in turn 6 that we've seen her do. That's kind of her racing line to make sure she can set up this next complex of 7, 8, and 9.
I'm kind of curious, all these 3 Caymans did take part in the North America race earlier this morning. Which they consider more slippery out there, this morning or the track right now?
Oh, well, yeah, no, you bring up a great point. Yeah, I completely forgot. When they first went out there, I mean, it was slippery, and we were just talking with Drew, our pace car driver, and he was even mentioning that he had to use the windshield wipers on those pace laps this morning.
Yeah, so there was at least a little bit of moisture coming down on the cars when we first started that we weren't aware of here in the booth. But it dried up as it went on, up to 124 track temperature now and rising. I don't think it is going to abate during the latter half of this race. Still, Anna has been unable to depose Justin Lewis up in the lead of our Caymans?
Well, Joe, I think that the track might have been slipperier this morning with some moisture on the racetrack, but I think the driver suits are probably a little bit more slipperier today, given that it's 124 degrees on the track.
Yeah, some more moisture inside the car, I suppose, as we watch them come through turn 15, and that looked like a struggle to make it through there for the 75.
Very similar to what we saw the opening lap as well. I think that Anna's just got a little bit better grip on the car in terms of that slow speed section, and it was turn number 20 that Justin had his little bobble on the opening lap, kind of right in the middle of the road there in 19, not using the whole width on the track entry. There we see the puff of dust coming up from the apex there of 19 that we've seen out of Greg Checkey's line all weekend long. Much better coming out of 20 this time for Lewis.
That is smoother. The gap is bigger because of it, so I think for Justin Lewis, he can relax just a little bit at this stage. Interesting that Greg has been dropping a little bit. He's not been able to hold on to that number 72 or 75, the 27 as well. His daughter able to pull the gap up to about 1.7 seconds. Good news for Mark Krigler up at the lead of the race is that he is currently about 4.8 seconds ahead and set the fastest lap of anybody out there in his 2:04.
Still getting pictures here of Anna applying the pressure and maybe actually a little bit of loose there coming out of what was turn 6 and 7. Now, one thing that has crossed my mind, because we typically see Anna really on top of it in terms of the performance, I wonder what tires are on the cars of the Checkies right now. I'm just thinking because they're not sticker tires. I think if we were seeing sticker tires, Anna would have run off by now.
That's a good point. And yeah, I feel like if you're going to save them, and yes, the West Series is important, but I feel like the championship is what she's leading down in the North America Series right now. So you make a very good point that she probably saved her best for that to try to maximize it, and now the car is trying to see if it can deal with these hot temperatures and chase down Justin Lewis, who's doing a very good job recovering after he had a bit of a shaky first lap or two.
These cars doing about 220s right now. Did about 216s yesterday, and the dry weather of a little bit cooler temperatures. So I do feel like there's a little bit more performance out there, but we've been talking about how hot it is on the racetrack. I mean, Joe, we started at 122. It went up to 124. I'm looking at it now. We're already at 126.
126. My goodness.
It's Texas.
It is. It never seems to fail. Did we have a swap around? Not quite yet. So the 27 is still right there. It does seem like Anna takes a little bit more of that corner exit compared to Justin off of 20.
These two liveries have my brain spinning around because one is a dark front and a white back, and then the other is vice versa.
Well, and to make it even more difficult,
yeah, and
Greg is also a light front and a dark back. So, yeah, we have 3 black and white cars. The only difference really,
a little bit of yellow on Justin.
Yes, is some flashes of color that Justin Lewis has given us to help differentiate. Again, still holding down the fort, doing a mighty fine job. And then coming around through the S's, he's going to have 23 more minutes plus 1 lap to continue to try and defend unless he can pick up the pace, because it looks like Anna is still the quicker of the two.
Yes. Yeah, no, what I'm seeing right now is just a line difference, and it's costing some time up front. If we watch the placement of the car of our overall leader, now Anna's going to try to look down to the inside, so she's going to force Justin a little bit to pinch the apex, the entry here on turn number 11. But even going into the S's, our lead car wasn't using that full width of the racetrack, and it really cuts off the first half of the corner, and all of a sudden Anna Checky is just able to right back to that bumper.
Now, I think that was before the braking zone, but he does need to be careful about some reactionary moves here as we watch Anna have a good run coming down to 12. But again, just covering the middle of the track. Justin does not let her get any sort of leg in. So now as we come down to 13, I thought maybe she was thinking about that one. She was awful close.
She definitely was, and that was the first time that we've seen Justin really open up the corner. This we saw the first couple laps. He struggled, goes way wide again. He's trying to get it down to the apex, leaves room nicely for Anna Checkered, and now she puts the power down. The problem is the inside of the racetrack belongs to Justin Lewis. That's the inside. He is way loose, almost loose onto the inside grass, but he catches the car.
Oh, that's a good save because that's a fast corner that you're going through there, and if you spin it, you're going for quite a ride. He actually even stays in second place. Greg Checkered not close enough to pick up the pieces, but Anna Checkered is now your Cayman leader with 22 minutes left.
And I mean, and then he just had another big moment in the exit of turn number 20. I mean, from these overhead shots, you can just see how much more track the Checkies are using everywhere. And what that does is it opens up the radius of the corner. It makes the car drive easier. I mean, even right there, look at how far Greg Checkered is on driver's right going into turn number 1 and just allows that easier radius throughout.
Certainly seems to be helping them. And to our point about the weather, I mean, you can even still see that it's quite hazy around. It's just we seem to be in that patch of sunshine that has been beating down. What did you see, Joe?
I mean, just so far behind on those apexes going into the S's there, and you saw how much gap Justin had going into the S's, and look at Greg just close it up constantly through each one of these apexes.
Haven't been covering Krigler, but he is only about 3.7 seconds ahead of Manny, who actually took the fastest lap away from him. That's an interesting development. We'll keep an eye on that one in case he does manage to get closer to try and take away the win from the 204 as we head through turn 11 now onto the back straightaway. Little corrections trying to get the power down from Greg Checkered, but despite losing the lead, the good news for Justin Lewis, he is still in the lead of the Masters over these two.
There you see some lap time comparisons, and Greg Checkie's last lap, call it about 1.2 seconds faster than Justin Lewis because Justin got overtaken from Anna and then had that big loose moment in this section that's coming up. And I feel like this tower area is maybe where the 75 car is struggling the most for the grip level. And look at how much Anna has already taken off.
Yeah, I think she needed to get away there and take off down the road. It's already up to 2.3 seconds, and she made that pass roughly a lap ago. So impressive job. This time, much more stable for the 75 down through the triple apexer as he leads away over Greg Checkered. Greg, to his credit, remember he was kind of falling off of the two of them earlier on. He's been holding on to the back of Justin quite well now.
I've always, told people at turn number 19, you got to aim for the grass, right? Because if you aim for the grass, you're never going to make it there. Just because it's downhill, you always lose the front end in turn number 19. But Greg Checkered, I think he may be aiming for the guardrail because he's clipping the grass every single time in 19. And hey, it works out for him. That's his line.
Exactly, yeah. It's easily the most shallow line I've seen through there, but it has not caused problems. It has not alerted race control to any sort of cut course. So yeah, he's maybe given something that other drivers need to keep track of next time they visit here, if they can find any advantage out of that. Lead for the Masters is now on between two cars that are pretty much close in livery now, so good luck to us keeping these two apart as we head towards the top of the hill once again on the far side of the circuit.
Not as good of a run out of that tail car, so it's not going to be down towards turn number 11 that he's making that passing opportunity. And I do think that the Checkered car, the 72, is struggling just slightly for overall grip. Now, we don't see the car wagging around and doing big, huge slides like we saw him. I mean, remember that huge slide in turn number 12 that Greg Checkered saved it from earlier on today. So we don't see that sort of attitude out of the car right now. However, he's using the whole width of the racetrack, and he's not necessarily making a whole lot of headroom. I just think that he's trying to find the grip with how hot it is.
That's a good point.
I mean, Anna is slowed for some reason.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting. There we saw another bobble from Justin Lewis coming through turn 12, so that will separate him from her. The gap, down to 1.0 seconds, so good catch on that, Joey, that she seems to have had some sort of problem. I wonder if there was a mistake out of turn 11, because you lose a little bit on the exit of that corner, you're going to lose it all the way down the back straight.
I do feel for Justin a little bit, because the worst thing that I would want to have right now is a Checky tag team trying to get around me. And the last thing I want is Anna to come up and play a little game. And she's not going to do that, right? She is going to be running 100%. But it always creeps into the mind of the driver saying, hey, what's going on here?
I suspect that Anna's going to be up front taking her frustrations out on the course. Just basically beating this one into submission to do the best that she can out there and take a dominating win up at the front of the Cayman class. But Greg, despite seeing a few little wiggles out of Lewis, just doesn't seem to be able to close the gap enough to really start to kind of position himself and posture to make an attempt.
And I was looking at the sector times last lap from Anna, and I think it was primarily in the end of sector number 1 and going through sector number 2. And it kind of crosses over right about here, I believe, in terms of that sector 1, sector 2 crossover. And so I wonder if it was just a kind of a loose moment like we saw out of Justin earlier on.
That's a good point. Meanwhile, in the Cup cars, I have been noticing that Gilles Del Real has been resetting that fastest lap multiple times. He's cut it down to 2.2 seconds on Krigler, so he is closing in. He just hasn't quite reached him yet. This time, Justin has to go defensive down into turn 12, with Greg Checky becoming a serious threat, but he doesn't seem to have the corner exit that Justin does.
It's a great handling car down the straightaway, I gotta say. That 75 has got some horsepower underneath there, and of course, all of these Caymans, 500 horsepower they're making out of these engines. And with the track temperatures that we've been mentioning, it really is up to that driver to control that right foot, not spin up those rear wheels too much. Of course, they've got electronic aids, but it doesn't mean that it is unspinnable.
You can't get away with just getting too greedy out there for sure. And look at how close he gets down through 15. You talked about earlier that you felt like this is where Justin might be a little bit weaker, and I wonder if Greg has noticed that as well.
It might be, and it really was only those first 2 laps, right? It just seemed that Anna was really able to get up on the back bumper of the 75 through that tower section, and then also turn number 20, a couple little slides. But ever since those first few laps, he's kind of been able to regather the car control and continue on, and he's proven to be a thorn in Greg Checky's side.
I got to give credit to Justin. Yes, he did lose the overall lead, but he's kind of sticking where it counts here up at the front of the Masters, preventing Greg from being able to get by. We're well past the halfway mark of the race, and now it's Greg's turn to overdrive a little bit, the tail kind of yawing out of turn 1.
Look at how bright this racetrack is now. We have just sunshine beating down on it. A very, very drastic difference from kind of the attitude of the weather that we had this morning. I'm sure the drivers are still feeling it inside of the cars and still trying to adapt. We always talk about changing conditions under the kind of rain situation, but this racetrack has gone through quite a big swing today.
It has, in such a huge way, but the drivers all have to deal with it out there, so everybody's in the same boat. Great braking by the 72 coming down into turn 12 once again. But last time we saw that, he seemed to lose down the back straightaway, and it's kind of looking like that again. Is Greg going too hard into that hairpin?
It could be. It could be that it's sacrificing the exit speed. I know that if I was in the 72, I'd be on the radio the entire time down the back straightaway. I'm right on him. Now he's 1 car length. Now he's 2 car lengths. Now he's 3 car lengths. What's going on?
Just got to master that grip with that right foot. You can't just mash it down as we were just discussing before. By the way, that gap is now under a second for the overall lead. Gilles Del Real didn't reset the fastest lap this time, but the previous lap he did, as it gets close once again down through the stadium section, but still nothing doing for Greg Checky, despite filling up the mirrors of the 75 car.
Two different lines on exit right there coming out of what is 18. Don't see the kick of dust that time, and here's the battle that you were just talking about. So Mark Krigler, he's our leader in that 204 car, and he has led every single lap so far. It has been Manny Gilles de Riel that has been closing it in with the faster laps, 214.6 compared to a 215.8 in front.
And in fact, Del Real was quicker despite not setting a personal best first sector. And Krigler did set a personal best first sector. He's gotten the hurry up. He's trying his best to run away, but the 270, who has had at least one lap invalidated for track limits, is clearly hustling. There is the distance between them as we watch from the Yokohama blimp down the back straightaway.
It got bigger coming out of turn number 11 there. I think Manny maybe had a little bit of a tough time just trying to navigate to get the car rotated and really put all 500 plus horsepower down to the ground down this long back straightaway here at COTA. And now he's got to make up some more of that ground that he has been slowly closing in here on Krigler.
So, as we come back to our battle for the Masters lead, a little juke to the inside by Lewis just to try to cover it up, but did he overshoot it? Cutting back underneath the 72, looking to get a better run. And he is going to have the slipstream as now they pick up speed down the back straightaway.
Now we're really going to see that horsepower battle. And, yeah, that 75 is, I mean, he's got some horsepower in that thing, especially compared to Greg Checkered. And, I mean, I think the 72 is a pretty good baseline car because we've seen it compete so many times. But that was actually pretty drastic how much it pulled away. I wonder if Greg maybe has something else going on.
Well, he needs to open up the hood and tell the hamster running on the wheel to get it a move on in there.
If you do that, you're not going to be talking to the right hamsters, Joe. It's not in the hood.
Good point. The boots, I guess, as he comes around through turn 15 once again. Man, he was so close coming down into 11.
2 seconds now.
Something does seem to be awry because it looked like he should have had a much better run down the back straightaway. I wonder if there is an issue that we're not seeing.
Yeah, and I feel like if there is something that is a little bit more serious, there's the puff of dust right there from the Checky turn 19 line. So Anna comes across, Justin comes across. Now we wait for Greg. Yes, he does not pull it into pit lane, so it's evidently not a serious enough problem that he has to have the crew take a look at it.
Personal best lap for Mark Krigler up at the very front down to a 2:14.8. That's still half a second off of Manny's best lap time around here. But the good news is he was 2.2 seconds faster, I think, or close to that, over his rival in the Cup cars. Only 5 cars left competing here since we sadly lost Herback and Alex Pratt for mysterious reasons parked it at the beginning of the race. But the 75, who at one point looked like he was in serious trouble for losing that lead, is suddenly on his lonesome on our camera shots.
I know we've been working with some awesome new graphics that Claude has really been putting on full display here. I wonder if we could get the speeds down the back straightaway here between these 3 Caymans. Just see if we can see a top speed between Anna and Justin and also Greg. It's more just out of curiosity for me.
Yeah, it just seems so strange that even when it looks like he should have had a much better run, that the car just loses. Anna Checky picking up towards the end of it, 130, 140, 150 miles an hour, topped out at about 150.
And it's jumping around a little bit, so I don't know if it's completely accurate in terms of being able to compare the 2 cars. I think the important thing right now is that Anna is the one that is leading the way with some consistent 221.5 the last time by, and Justin doing an absolutely terrific job with a 221.7.
So looking at the second sector this time, Lewis was slower than Checky by about half a second. So Greg Checky, I should clarify. So, over the course of the entire sector, he's quicker, but that should mostly be that back straight. So search me.
And yes, there is definitely a difference. It was just so, it was a little bit of an oddity to see it just happen on that one straightaway where Greg really fell back. And Now he's picked up the pace. Now Anna actually picks up the pace pretty significantly. She just put in her personal fastest lap, and the first time that we've seen him dip below 220 is a 219.8.
In fact, she and her dad are very close on their best laps by a tenth of a second between them. So they are nicely matched. Unfortunately for Greg, he just is a little bit stuck behind the 75. But you're right, Anna Checkered has been utilizing this clear air to great effect. She's now about 3.5 seconds ahead of Justin. As we check back in with Krigler and Del Real, it's back down to about 2 seconds. I saw it was about 1.5 seconds earlier, so it's been ebbing and flowing between these two.
And we're starting to run thin on time as well. We just clicked under, call it 7 minutes remaining out there on the racetrack. So if you're going to make a move and start to creep it in that little bit more, talking about that 270 of Gilles de Real, he's going to have to pick up the pace here pretty quickly.
I think Mark trying his best to manage this one. Once he was told that Del Real was a bit of a threat, he kind of turned up the wick and hasn't looked back since. There have been times where we see Manny start to catch up just a little bit, but it's not been enough to get within striking distance. As we watch them head around Big Red, as they call it. It was named after the, I believe, the original owner of this track back in the day. And do like that one. Caught me off guard. I thought there was a couple interesting names that could have been given to that corner, but I definitely dig Big Red.
Now I'm curious.
My favorite is DJ Clark. He always insisted it should have been called Phil Hill because he was an American F1 driver. And it just felt so fitting, and I feel like that's one of the best suggestions that I've been given. But Big
It
Red,
almost works too well.
Yes.
Gotta love DJ Clark and working with him whenever possible. But right now, it is Mark Krigler leading the way in these GT3 Cups and in that Pro-Am class, using up the whole width of the racetrack to now go down this back straightaway here. Really done a fantastic job. Stayed extremely consistent so far on the lap times. And when Manny has started to creep it in, it seems like Mark has a little bit of an answer for it and is able to maybe stretch it back out just a little bit.
I'm hoping this will wind up being a big confidence booster for Mark Krigler from what we've seen him improve on this season. Remember when he came in last season in 2025 and seemed to struggle at times. I feel like he needed to deal with some of the physicality of the racing at times because he certainly looked kind of beat when we first get out of the car. And this one is going to be a test on that front, but if he can hold on to the lead and continue to not give in to that pressure, then he can come away knowing that he has overcome some demons.
Well, to that point about the fitness and just how hot it is inside the race car, I went back and checked the track temperature. It hasn't cooled off, but it's not accelerating at the same rate. It's only up to 127 now.
Yeah, I had noticed that too, that it seemed to pick up for a brief moment for some reason. And I think we actually are finally getting some cloud cover.
I was just going to say that. It's been really bright sunshine on the racetrack, but actually right now, I mean, you can even see it here on the front straightaway in this turn one shot. Just a little bit of cloud cover has now gone overhead.
It is a small respite in this 35-minute plus one lap race, which is getting ever closer towards the end. We still see Manny in the background. He is not giving up on this one. And while they both will be their class winners, we should reiterate, it is the overall that they are wanting to fight for. And credit to Manny, when it's only a two-car race, he has kept it as a two-car race and not dropped off here.
Although you say that, and this is the biggest gap that we've seen out of Krigler, right? It was just about 2 seconds on that previous lap, maybe 2.5, and now it's grown up to 3.6. So maybe just getting through that S's section a little bit cleaner, maybe a little bit more confidence, getting onto the gas to power the car down these long straightaways. It's helped balloon the gap.
So as we come up towards the braking of turn 12, Is this Mark starting to turn it back up? Does he feel like he's got some more in it? Greg Checkered, I think, may have just taken the fastest lap of the Caymans last time by. Yes, he did, by about 0.2 over Anna, but is still not caught back up to Justin Lewis. In fact, the gap is also the highest we've seen it down there in the Cayman Masters.
Yeah, all the way up to 5 seconds now. So Justin doing a terrific job to hold off of that effort from Greg Checkered, especially earlier on, call it maybe 5 or 6 laps ago. And ever since Greg kind of dropped off of the back of Justin Lewis, Justin has put in some extremely consistent laps and been able to hold and maintain that gap.
I think this time by, well, this is our Cup cars. Oh, the 270. Unfortunately, we must have missed that he had his warning a little bit earlier, because he now has a 3-second post-race penalty. Even if he had been able to keep up with Mark, that may have been his undoing if he had passed him.
I wonder if that's where that additional time gain in that last lap came from, right? Because he had been within that 2 seconds, and we were really making comments. I mean, at one point, he was within about a half a second off of the back of Krigler, and maybe just a little bit through some of these sections. Now, I know that Race Control is looking at the corner exits. They're also looking at some apexes in certain areas, so it could have been from a few different places.
And the unfortunate news for the drivers in the USA West Series is the stewards have a lot easier time of watching all the cars out there and who's going off. So you have no place to hide from them. There's plenty of eyes to watch these 5 vehicles still circulating.
I think we should be coming up to probably 1 lap remaining. I wasn't sure when Krigler crossed the line, but it should be coming up to 1 lap remaining, and just got to keep it together for, call it another about 6 miles or so.
Yeah, they were definitely under their lap times when they crossed the line. I was watching that just as they came up to turn 20 there. So white flag going to be prepared for Mark Krigler, who has been leading the way since the start of this race. He'll switch back around here. 3 hairpins in a row, effectively, you could say, through 12 into 13. Then, of course, you have 14 kind of in there as a little bit of a kink, but it's almost a non-corner before you enter turn 15. And finally, you can put the throttle down more fully, but not for long, because you have 3 apexes to try and make it through as the track falls downhill.
Get a little bit of the elevation that we've got here in all of Texas, the majority of it here at COTA, especially going up into turn number 1. But when people think of Texas, right, they think of flat, right? And we have a significant amount of elevation here at COTA, which is pretty cool. Not just up into turn 1 like we're about to see as Mark Krigler officially gets the white flag. 1 lap to go.
Yeah, it's one of the few spots around here where it's got those big hills, as behind him Gilles Del Real crosses the line about 4 seconds back, but that's going to be bumped backwards more once the penalties are applied for him out of turn 1. Definitely still using up the track where he can. Krigler running a 2:16.8. He was maybe a 1/10 slower than Manny that time by.
I have to chuckle a little bit, because remember how you said that Greg Checkered reset the fast lap there in the Caymans? Well, Anna just took it away. I wonder if CHR is on the radio saying, hey, you know, your dad went a little bit faster than you. You think you can do that?
Whenever I see that, I think back to the old days of the old F1 champion, and now his name is escaping me, the German.
Michael?
No, not Michael. In the 2010s, wow, I'm digging myself a deep grave for the purists out there. Anyways, but the drivers who would come on the radio and say, what's the fastest lap if they can't win the race?
You talking about Seb?
Yes,
yeah.
Vettel. Why couldn't I think of that name? I'm too young to have memory problems. Sebastian Vettel would often come onto the radio and say, what's the fastest lap? Or if he's leading by too big of a margin, which would be the case for Anna Checkered here, who's down under 2:18 seconds for that latest fast lap. But Mark Krigler, I believe he didn't have the fastest lap for a while. In fact, he does not still, because Manny is still considered the quickest out there according to our tower.
Yeah, I was going to go back and actually check that. A 2:14.8 has been Krigler's fastest lap so far compared to a 2:14.3 out of Manny in that 270. But I think the most important thing is bringing it home to the checkered flag with 2 turns remaining.
We asked whether or not Mark Krigler could hold up against Manny with him starting to close the gap. He answered it and then some. He'll come out of the final corner, and for the first time this season, Mark Krigler will be your winner here in the Cup cars. He'll be followed home by the winner in the Masters, as Manny Gil Del Real will complete that one. It is down to within a second between Justin and Greg.
It was 2.7 seconds at the beginning of this lap, and now it is down to under a second. I can say that Justin is holding him off down the back straightaway now. I don't think that Greg is close enough to really catch a huge slipstream to pull off anything crazy. Justin has just got to continue to be that immovable rock. I see on our marching ants right now, Anna is rounding through turn number 15, and this is that battle that I was just talking about. Greg has closed it in. It was as far back as 5 seconds, but there, I think, is an example of the grip level the Czechies are dealing with.
Sometimes you try a little bit too hard, especially when there's nothing left in the race. You might as well throw everything at it, but that will undo Greg Cecchi. However, for Anna Cecchi, she'll take another win here in the Pro-Ams, but also in the overall for the Caymans here in the USA West Series. A brilliant performance.
Great job from her, and now we patiently wait for Justin Lewis, our Cayman Master Class leader. He's just got one more corner remaining to keep it together. There you see Greg Cecchi still giving chase. Winner, Justin Lewis.
Nicely done by all the drivers, and now hopefully they can step outside of the car and catch some relief from this heat that has just blasted them today.
I'll go ahead and read through our official results. We're just going to read through overall here since the majority of the classes are individual. It is Mark Krigler taking the overall and Pro-Am win. Manny Gil Del Real claiming the GT3 Cup Masters win. Anna Cecchi in the Cayman class finishes on top of the Pro-Am podium with the win. Justin Lewis in the Cayman Masters finishes on top there. And then Greg Cecchi going to finish second in the Masters. Unfortunately, we did not see Alex Pratt on the racetrack today, and Greg Herback had a little bit of a puncture on that outlap there, so he did not get to partake in today's race. And folks, if you want to hear from the winners, please don't go anywhere. Joe Peak is already headed down to Parc Fermé to chat with all of our drivers.
Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
When we began racing, we started with a question. Can a dream become a legacy? Across endless nights, relentless rain, competition that never slows. Through every failure, every win, every single race, we've asked ourselves, can a dream become a legacy? And 75 years later, the answer is clear. Because we weren't built for racing, we were born for it.
Justin Lewis had to run through the heat. What was it like out there to take that win?
I mean, it was hot in the car for sure. The track definitely got slippery. It's kind of what we expected. I think the race in the afternoon yesterday was similar. So, yeah, I think COTA definitely gets warm and greasy in some of the corners. So it's a lot of time on traction control and just pushing as hard as you can, but honestly just trying to make no mistakes. And so being sandwiched in between the Kacheckis, both amazing drivers, was also a pretty good learning lesson for me. Just the one sort of try to run in the front and then follow Anna and see what she was doing and watching the lines and stuff. So
it seems like we've seen an upswing in form this weekend. Do you feel momentum building for you?
I do. I mean, I think this track has been friendly to me for some reason. I spent a lot of time on the sim, before I came here. Sounds silly, but I feel like I kind of found the rhythm here pretty quick, and I think I like the high-speed stuff. So, it's just a good grip, high-speed corners. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of how fast you want to throw it in there.
Well, savor the victory. Great job this weekend. That was our winner in the Masters, and I believe that's going to wrap us up for this weekend's racing in Porsche Sprint Challenge. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.